Just finished performing a little routine maintenance, or routine for me, on this old Mitsubishi LT-5V. Thought you might be interested in checking this out. I wish I had taken some video while I had the pieces a little bit more disassembled. Basically just need to continually lubricate the motor pulley and gear assembly that moves the Tonearm across the platter. And I've been experimenting with different lubricants and thought I was using trumpet valve oil for just quick little drops of lubrication to kind of keep it going for a little bit, but noticed that started collecting a little dust and just getting a little dirtier and grimier, and I just needed to ultimately take apart and clean all the gunk that had built up there and reapply some white lithium grease. So it's on, it's spinning right now. I'm happy with the improved speed of the Tonearm tracking across the platter. But really what is always the problem area for me is right up here. And a fresh belt would probably go a long way, but for whatever reason I'm being hesitant to order one of those. So you can see this is the motor and pulley system that turns that little spindle gear that moves the Tonearm assembly, which is right there, across this steel bar, and moves the Tonearm across the platter. And you can see the grooves in there cut into that metal piece are actually the windows for the photo-optical sensors that determine sort of where the platter edge is, where the inside groove or where the lead-out groove is, where the lead-in groove is. And once upon a time I had to take this all apart and put in some new rice grain light bulbs to fix that section. So anyway, I've got, a rather sloppy job, but it's really hard to access there on the spindle, and there are these really tiny washers up top there and one between, if you can kind of see it right there, they're super tiny, and I think they're supposed to be what produces the frictionless surface, and not necessarily this brass the thing that anchors it to the actual body of the record player. So I don't know all of my build terminology. But it's moving pretty well right now. This is the motor that lifts and lowers the Tonearm, and that spindle moves this gear and it presses those switches that tell basically the platter to stop spinning. So I'm going to hit stop, and hopefully we can see how all of this works in action. Get a little inside view of the LT-5V here. So this should be stop. Let's see. There we go. So you see that gear moving. It's going to trip that switch. Oh yeah, we're moving real nice now. Still not perfect, but can't complain. Mitsubishi LT-5V gut shot. Interested if any of you out there who have one of these, what kind of problems you might encounter with the simple machines that ultimately drive it and move that Tonearm across. I'm expecting improved tracking too with that, but it always moved slowly enough for the tracking to stay steady. It was just sort of moving from the Tonearm rest to the edge of the platter that sometimes would get hung up, especially if I haven't lubricated it in a while. I'm sure there's plenty of other places I could get some grease in, but I always try to minimize the extent to which I take an old machine like this apart, lest I get way too far down the repair rabbit hole. We've all been there, right? Circuit board shot. Such a cool device.